Hey guys, I'm really excited about this upgrade. I've been wanting to do this ever since I got my Ford Ranger. I think it went really well, but I'll let you be the judge of that after you watch this video. Stock exhaust, not very impressive looking. Looks to be 2.5-inch diameter, just by eyeballing it. And it goes up. There's kind of a resonator right there behind the leaf spring, and then it goes up and there's a huge muffler. I'll get under the mid portion of the truck to show you the huge muffler. Here's that huge muffler. Looks to be about 28 inches long. Goes up there and then goes over the rear axle there. You can see it comes here, connects there, and then it goes all the way up to the catalytic converter there. So a nice straight shot. Doesn't seem to be any sharp bends or anything. But we're gonna remove this muffler and we're gonna put a muffler delete kit on there, which relocates the side pipe. So I'll show you the before and after on that. But for now, we're just gonna disconnect it and see how it sounds without the muffler and the resonator. I'm gonna remove this bracket here that keeps the heat from the exhaust away from the spare tire. There's 2 bolts there, 10mm, and then there's this rear bracket here, also 10mm to the frame, that holds that portion of the muffler hanger. The heat shield out of the way. I've put the bolts back in there in case I need them later. That's the heat shield there. I'll just leave it off for now. And then there's the bolt up there for the rear exhaust hanger. It is a 13mm deep socket. That rear hanger removed there. There it is right there. Now we just got to go up to that portion up there, remove that rubber hanger there, and we should be able to pop this guy off of here. See, I disconnected that rubber hanger there and this one here. Then we kind of gave the old muffler a kick backwards towards the back of the truck and came right off. You can see the clamp here. This clamp is spot welded to the actual muffler underneath, so it comes off with the muffler. So now I just have to pull this up and over the rear axle there and get it clear here, and then we can see what this thing sounds like with no muffler. So the aftermarket muffler delete kit is finally here. Here's what all came in the box. Here's the new tips. This is a 3-inch pipe down to 2 3.5-inch diameter tips. They've got the hangers welded on. Then over here, got 2 hang brackets that bolt to the frame. Got the clamp. And what I really like about the clamp that they provided in the kit, this is by AFV Power, by the way, AFE Power. There's their logo there. What I really like about the kit is the clamp that they provided is the same OEM clamp that comes on the muffler stock. So you can see here, this is the one. It's spot welded to the original muffler, so you can't really take that off unless you grind out that spot weld. So they provided a new clamp, but it's the same exact style. It's got the little taper there so that it fits nice together, and it's got the rounded kind of washer nut on the back so that it has a nice tight fit. So I like that they did kind of the OEM style clamp with the kit. So there's the old one there, and there's the new one. So let me start getting this bolted up and we'll go from there. This is where I disconnected the old muffler. I had it temporarily on a copper wire. So the first thing I did was I disconnected this factory bracket. There's 2 10mm bolts that bolted into the frame there with those clips. So I took that off. And then the way the instructions say is there's 2 brackets provided. You've got the 2 brackets here. You got the shorter one and the longer one. The longer one is going to be for the long bed truck, and the shorter one is going to be for the short bed, meaning the extended cab versus the 4-door. I have the 4-door, so longer truck, longer bracket. Just remember that. So where that bracket's going to go, I thought this was pretty genius. They used a hole that was already in the frame. You've got this bed mount right here. That's kind of like a shock absorber bed mount. And then right beside it in the bracket is that hole right there. So this bracket is going to install right here. It's going to bolt through the hole that's already there, so you don't have to drill anything. And then you're going to use the factory rubber boot hanger type of deal to attach it to the muffler, the new muffler tip. Put that bracket on there. Make sure you put the nut facing forward towards the front of the truck, or else you're not going to have enough room to get your ratchet in there on the back side. Now we're going to put this rubber boot right on this hanger here. I just had to take another time out to show you guys this because this was amazing. I was struggling so hard to get that rubber hanger on the bracket because you can see the hole is much smaller diameter than the knob part on here. And I was pressing and pressing and pressing and cussing and couldn't get it on there. And then I was like, there's got to be an easier way. So I was looking for some soap or something, and I happened to have this assembly lube for engine reassembly in my garage by Lucas. And I just put a couple dabs on the inside of that rubber hole, and it just popped right on there, easy as can be. So I'm sure you could use soap, any kind of grease. I wouldn't use any, maybe even a little bit of oil if you have oil. I wouldn't use like WD-40 or anything like that, but anything heavier weight like oil, even petroleum jelly would probably work. Got the new muffler clamp in place. I went ahead and put the original bracket back on because it doesn't really, there's plenty of clearance in between that, and this is not necessary. So this is the alternate mounting for the shorter cab. So this is not being used at all. But I put this bracket in just so I didn't lose it in case I ever want to put the original muffler back on. And then there's the new mount there. And that's where the new outlet is. So we've got this clamp in. You notice that it's not clamped all the way in. This is really tight. You can see it started denting the pipe in a little bit there, which is how you want it. So this, when you tighten this up, it's not going to close that gap all the way. So don't try to do that because then you'll be over tight and you'll risk snapping the bolt. So just go real tight, but not, you don't have to have that gap closed right there. Here's how the exhaust looks now. I need to give it a good polishing because it has some kind of factory oil protectant stuff on it. But that's where it comes out now. It's just in front of that rear tire. I think it looks really good. So let's fire it up and see how it sounds. Alright, we're inside the cab, setting up the decibel meter here. Let me reset it because I think it heard me talking, but we're going to fire this up and see how loud it is in the cab. Overall, I'm really happy with it. You can see the decibel meter there. It's just as loud with the new tip on it as it was with just straight exhaust, but what I can hear, and I don't know if you'll be able to hear it on the video or not, but it's much more mellow with the tip on there. It just mellows it out quite a bit, and it's a little bit quieter in the cab since it's spitting the sound out to the side instead of directly underneath the cab. So I think it was 3 or 4 decibels quieter in the cab. But again, the difference between the factory exhaust was about 68 decibels, and then with this muffler delete, it was about 78 inside the cab. So nice sound, and we're going to go take it for a test drive. So before the muffler delete, we had 87.8 decibels outside the cab and 68.9 decibels inside the cab. And after the muffler delete, we have 119.5 decibels outside the cab maximum and 77.4 decibels inside the cab. I didn't get any footage of the actual test drive afterwards, but I'm really happy with this install. The sound is much louder, but very mellow and kind of throaty. I love it. It sounds great, and you can really feel the additional power. I don't have any kind of dyno results or horsepower test to prove, but you can feel the much more flow. You can actually hear more flow. The turbo sounds great. Highly recommend this kit. It was well worth it, and it's not a sponsored video, so go ahead and get a muffler delete kit from wherever you buy your aftermarket parts and get on it with your new Ford Ranger.